Greetings, dear friends. You are watching the Know Thyself series on the ICAPER channel. I would like to begin by extending my sincere gratitude to Garabed Sarkissian, the director of the Abedic Isahagian Home Museum located in Gyumri, for providing this most splendid and important cultural site for the purposes of our series. Here, the literary giant within the world of Armenian literature will not only feel his spiritual presence, but get to experience what life was like for an Armenian living during the turn of the 19th century. It is from this awesome location I have the privilege to present to you today's series. In our previous program, we left off explaining the meaning behind the song entitled Shoher Jan, and how the song itself was a representation of the Earth's seasonal change. The characters in the song, Vahakhan and Shoher, represented the journey of the celestial bodies of the Sun and the planet Venus in the context of the changes of the seasons throughout the given celestial year. In today's episode, we continue unearthing ancient folklore and try to find further evidence of Astrik in other musical texts. In the previous episode, we saw how in ancient Armenia, most probably in its pagan traditions, the sun was worshipped along with the morning star and the evening star, which is one and the same planet Venus. These two celestial entities were mostly described as birds in most areas of ancient Armenia, either an eagle or a dove. Later on, the celestial entities took on the form of humans, as it was common practice among all the ancient civilizations in and around the Armenian highlands. For example, Pan, who was the guardian of the shepherds, took on the form of a human, however not fully, and was part goat. Or another example would be the goddess Hera, who was described as a human, however with large eyes of a cow. The same can be seen in ancient Mesopotamia with Ishtar or Inanna, Astarte, who was a winged being similar to a dove. It is with the same meaning the Armenian notions of the morning star and the evening star took on the form of human entities, but with bird-like characteristics. Both were accompanying the sun god, and being subservient entities were worshipped as such. Their worship was tied to elemental water, both in its presence within the sky and on earth. It is for this reason the personification of the morning star and evening star would come down from the sky, take off their winged vestments, turn into girls, and would bathe in rivers and lakes. The morning star, or the planet Venus, as said in the previous episode, is the celestial body that shines before the sun rises, and was named Mus Astr, or plainly Astr, star. These ancient traditions or understandings would later become the foundation for the formation of the Armenian mythology and the character of the goddess Astri, who was connected to the worship of water. Remember Vartavar, and how the Armenian people would remember the celebration by dousing each other with water. Taking all this into consideration, let us make note of the following. A. The dissemination of folklore. B. The conversation of the Armenian tradition about the goddess Astrik, and C. Examples of a few Armenian folk songs. In Armenian folk tales, as well in other traditions, there is a common story where 2 or 3 bird-like sisters would take on the form of doves, would come down from the sky onto rivers or lakes, take their bird-like vestments off, would become fiery female entities and bathe in the waters, would come out of the water dressed in their bird-like vestments again, transform into birds yet again, and fly up into the sky. An earthly boy notices this act and secretly hides the birds-like vestments of one of the girls while they are bathing in the water. When the girls finish bathing and dress back up to fly yet again, the girl is left without a vestment and is left bewildered and cannot fly back up. The boy would approach the bewildered girl and take her by the hand back home and wed her. Now let us note the popular folk story of Astrik, who would come down from the heavens with their fairies onto the Aradzani river to bathe. The folklore tells us when the local boys would come to secretly watch them bathe, Astrik would cast a thick fog to cover the fields and rivers from sight to hide her godly beauty from them. It is for this reason the area surrounding the Aradzani river was named Mush, which comes from the term in Armenian for fog, Mushush, What are the names of the rivers that flow through Mush, you ask? Well, there is Meghraked and Aradzani, which is also known as the Eastern Euphrates. In numerous Armenian folk songs, we hear of the two brides bathing in a river. Let us make note of a few of these songs where they tell a story. From Mush or Sasun come two brides. They have entered the river and are bathing. They gone to the shore and are shivering and are glowing red like pomegranate seeds. These songs are known as Mishol Keren from the town of Mush, Sasna Keren from the town of Sasun, and Nare Yar, Nare my love.
Sasukeren erguhar sachnare yar Vengazen get galochen im choro dige megujar Elazen ab gatochen achnare yar Kesnaran had geshochen im choro dige megujar.
The rivers Meghraked and Aradzani are noted in sections from the first verse, those same rivers in which Astrik would bathe according to the folklore. By examining the geographical maps of Greater Armenia and the Armenian highlands, we see that Mush is found west of Lake Van and south of Meghraked, and further south of Mush there lies Sasun. By putting all these bits of information together, we can strongly conclude that the river which flows through the region of Mush and Sasun, in which the two brides bathe according to the folk song, refer to the morning star and evening star mythology. We must take into consideration the true meaning of the term bride or hars, as we say in Armenian. Bride does not only refer to a married girl, but also can be referred to a female, eternal and supernatural being, such as Chirahars, water bride, or Zovahars, sea bride, Haverjahars, eternal bride. By contemplating this information, we can strongly conclude that the bathing of the brides in the river does refer to the much more ancient mythology and tradition, where the song most likely played an important ceremonial role at the time. Later on, during the formation period of the said mythology, that belief became a foundation for future advancement of Astrik's role, and even later, the symbol of the dove or any other bird-like entity descending from heaven and bathing in the body of water in fiery form. Historian Dr. Sarkis Bedrosian of the Shirag Armenological Research Center agrees with the theory that the two brides and Astrik's fairies are one and the same. He states, in fact, the place where Astrik bathes is also called Kurkur, which is also the name of a species of dove. This way, the morning star and evening star that were portrayed next to the sun were symbolized as doves, and not always as eagles. And doves were evidently symbols of Astrik, according to tradition. It is for this reason pigeon keepers were revered in their work in ancient times, and were strongly connected as being servants to Astrik. But after the adoption of Christianity, everything connected to the pagan belief of Astrik and its symbols were gradually shunned upon. Besides the fact, when Christianity spread throughout the Armenian highlands, all the old gods and goddesses began to be referred to as demons by the Armenian Church at the time, and those who were of the old faith, demon worshippers. The morning star, or the planet Venus, was also known as Lucifer in the Roman Empire. Lucifer comes from the Latin term for light bearer, the same as in Armenian. Luci, light, fer means bearer. It is possible to mention how the Armenian ostrich, Lusaper, was loved by the ancient Armenians the same way Lucifer was loved by ancient Romans. It is for this reason their worship was shunned and related to demon worship. After the adoption of Christianity, the meaning of these folk songs began losing its intended meaning and became accepted as love songs. In the meantime, the said planet Venus, which was considered the morning star and the evening star, was considered the demonic Lucifer in the misinterpretation of biblical verses. There it is, dear listeners, the two brides according to Armenian folk song and how they are interconnected to the Armenian mythology and astrology from ancient times. I would like to once again extend a special thanks to the director of the Avedik Isahagyan Home Museum of Gyumri, Garabed Sarkissian, and her associates in providing our channel a wonderful place to bring to you today's program. It is an honor to be in the presence of the place in which one of the greatest literary giants of Armenian literature once lived. If there are any of you who have not been to this extraordinary place, I strongly encourage you to come to Gyumri, walk about in its old parts of this beautiful city, and visit Avedik Isahagyan's home museum, where the curators and the associates will most indefinitely be pleased to share with you the historical significance of this place, along with ancient artifacts and items from the late 19th century. That's it for now, dear friends. I thank you all very much for tuning in this program. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button, and as well, any encouragement from you for my Patreon page would be much appreciated. Please continue following the IKAPER channel for more exciting facts regarding the national treasures of the Armenian people.